Every Halloween we wear masks. We tell ourselves it's all just fun and fright. But history shows that for some, Halloween is not a game. It's the night when monsters come alive, not the ones in costumes, the ones in human form. Tonight, we explore the darkest stories the holiday has ever held. Real murders, unsolved disappearances, and crimes so chilling they haunt their communities every year on October 31st. In the sweltering summer of 1946, a wave of terror gripped the small town of Texarkana, straddling the border of Texas and Arkansas. The culprit was never seen, only felt. They called him the Phantom Killer. Over a 6-week period, 5 people were attacked, 2 fatally. The first attack occurred on a quiet Friday night. Jimmy Hollis and Mary Jean Larry were parked alongside the outskirts of town when an unseen assailant approached. They survived, but the terror had begun. It escalated quickly. The Phantom's method was terrifyingly random. Couples parked in cars, solitary individuals walking home. No pattern, no warning. His identity was never discovered. Suspects came and went. Alibis checked and discarded. But the attacks remained unsolved. For Texarkana, Halloween became a shadowy reminder. Some monsters never leave. To this day, the Phantom Killer remains a ghost. A chilling reminder that terror can strike when least expected, and sometimes it leaves no trace at all. Halloween 1974 brought fear closer to home. Timothy O'Brien, just 5 years old, lived in a quiet neighborhood in Pennsylvania. But on Halloween night, he bit into a treat that would end his life. His father had laced candy with poison, a deliberate act that stunned the community. The case shocked the nation. Parents began checking candy obsessively. Police issued warnings, and an urban myth was born that strangers might poison Halloween treats. But in Timothy's case, the danger came from home. A betrayal of trust. The Candyman, as he became known in headlines, was convicted and sentenced. Yet the fear he sowed lingered far beyond the courtroom. Halloween had been irrevocably changed, innocence and horror forever entwined. On a Halloween night in 1975, Martha Moxley, a teenage girl from Greenwich, Connecticut, was brutally murdered in her backyard. The scene was horrific. Bludgeoned with a golf club, left alone to be discovered the next morning. The shockwaves reached beyond her town. This was not random violence. This was a crime with layers of power and secrecy. It would take decades for the case to see resolution. Initial investigations faltered. Witnesses were afraid to speak, and the name of Kennedy was whispered in connection to the events. In 2002, decades later, a man named Michael Skakel was finally convicted. Yet even then, questions lingered. Martha Moxley's murder remains a chilling example of how evil can strike even in privileged neighborhoods. Between 1979 and 1982, New York City witnessed a series of killings that became known as the Orange Sock Murders. 2 young women were discovered dead, both wearing a single bright orange sock. A detail that unnerved investigators and the public alike. The murders seemed ritualistic, yet the killer remained elusive. Despite connections between the victims, no clear motive emerged. The cases went cold, leaving only fear, speculation, and the eerie symbol of a solitary orange sock. Halloween, for many in the city, became a reminder that patterns of violence could lurk in plain sight. Halloween 2004 would see a quiet community shattered. Leslie Mazzara and Adrian Insagna were home when an intruder entered, committing a brutal double homicide. The violence was sudden, shocking, and senseless. Neighbors recalled hearing nothing unusual. The assailant left no clues, and the case forced the community to confront a terrifying reality. Even well-lit, seemingly safe neighborhoods could be sites of unimaginable violence. On Halloween 2001, Cindy Song, a student at Penn State, vanished after attending a Halloween party. Despite immediate searches and media coverages, she was never seen again. The circumstances of her disappearance remain murky, and theories abound, but no definitive answers exist. Her disappearance became part of the darker lore of the university. Halloween, a time for celebration, became synonymous with fear and uncertainty for students and families alike. On the morning of October 31st, 2010, the Lisk family was found brutally murdered in their home. The horror of discovering multiple victims in a single household sent shockwaves through the local community. Investigators were faced with a scene of unimaginable violence, questioning how such evil could occur on a day meant for innocence and joy. Despite exhaustive investigation, the motive remained unclear. Halloween morning, a time for families and festivals, had been transformed into a nightmare that would haunt the community forever. Halloween is a night of masks, costumes, and make-believe. But for those who we've met tonight, the masks were real. Human monsters walking among us. Some were caught. Some remain unidentified, and some crimes remain unsolved. The shadow of violence lingers, reminding us that terror does not knock politely, and evil does not wait for the calendar to turn. Every October 31st, when children knock on doors for candy and families light their pumpkins, remember this. History tells us that some monsters are not hidden under masks. They are real, and they have walked the same streets as you. And if you like to deep dive into this true crime mysteries, like, share, and subscribe, and have a safe and spooky Halloween night.